Hey guys, welcome to a new module in the Google Ads course. In this module, we will understand a new ad format called Google Display Ads. After the success of Google search ads, Google introduced something called as Google Display Ads. And this platform has been a very effective platform when it comes to push marketing. Let us understand this with some illustrations. Now, before I walk you through Google Display Ads, let me tell you why Google Ads is different from all the other ad platforms out there. Let us understand this with an illustration. Every customer you go through goes through a funnel, right? Every customer goes through this funnel. The first step of your funnel is always an awareness. The second step is consideration. And the third is action. Google search ads plays a very important role in this particular stage, which is consideration. Here in this case, the customer already knows that there is a service or a product that solves a certain problem that I'm facing. That is pretty clear with the customer. The only question is, where do I get that service from, or who do I get that particular product from, right? So basically, they know what they are looking for. They just want to understand where they can get that particular service or solution from. And that is where we as advertiser fit to answer this question where, right? However, Google Ads is only one of those platforms which helps you not just in the consideration stage, but also in the awareness and the action stage. That's why it's called a full funnel platform where it caters from awareness to consideration to action. And this is where Google Display fits in, right? So, where consideration, we call it as pull marketing, where the customer is actually looking out for us and we are available in front of the customer. All the push marketing stuff is actually done by Google Display Ads. And of course, with video ads, which is YouTube, which we will learn in the subsequent module. But Google Display Ads will help you with all your push medium. So, as a matter of fact, Google Display Ad is one of those platforms which sticks in the awareness stage as well, and also in the action stage. Similarly, YouTube sits in the awareness and action, right? In action stage, the weightage of display is higher and YouTube is less. And in the awareness stage, the weightage of display is less and YouTube is high, right? We will understand this as we proceed. Now, before that, let me just quickly erase my screen before I walk you through what is Google Display Ads, right? So, right after Google search ads, we were in the world of something called as Web 1, right? Web 1 is a day and age where there were very few people who would create content, right? These contents were predominantly in the form of blogs, articles. There were some very few digital online newspapers, right? Basically, there was no social media where you could upload content, right? You need to create blogs, website. And today, with the help of tools, with the help of AI, creation of website is very easy. Earlier, when we used to create websites 10, 15 years ago, it used to be a very tedious task. The only thing you could do is code, right? And you would have to manually write the entire code to design a certain website, which would take a lot of time, a lot of money, etc. That's why this was done by a very handful number of people who would know how to actually code, right? So what would happen at this particular stage is, let's say, for example, there is a very interesting blog. Now, somebody writing a blog, somebody writing an article, somebody publishing a newspaper online, these guys also needed to make revenue, right? So, what they would do is across their entire blog, they would rent out. they would give out a certain space, right? This space could be like this space could be like this could be on the footer, this could be here somewhere, right? There, and here is where the actual article would be. So they would want to rent out all of these spaces, right? And of course, because they would rent out these spaces, they would get some money. That was the objective, which helps them grow their business, which helps them maintain their website, which helps them write more articles, do more research, etc., etc., etc. But this is how the story was. So early on, the entire system worked manually, which was the biggest problem. So somebody who would write these articles, somebody who would create this content was actually called as the publisher, right? And somebody who would want to use these places, you would want to use these inventory, right? Were called as advertisers. Now, what would happen is each and every advertiser would contact a publisher and they would offer money in exchange of space or inventory. That's how the system would work. Now, well, when there was limited number of publishers and limited number of advertisers, this was okay, right? They could contact each and every publisher, and the publisher would lend them space in exchange of money, and this would go very well. But what happened is a lot more publishers realized that this is a great business opportunity. Similarly, a lot more advertisers started selling digitally. A lot more advertisers realize that keeping our product and services on display in these spaces is actually helping us get business, getting people, getting traffic on my website. So as the number of advertisers grew and as the number of publishers grew, both in search of an opportunity, both as a monetary opportunity or as a customer opportunity, as these systems grew, a lot of confusion started being created. And that's when Google decided to intervene. Google said, hey, any way to reach to these publishers or to click on an ad from this particular advertiser, everybody goes through Google. If these are on Google, if these guys are on Google, plus the customers are on Google, why am I not in this ecosystem? Right? So when Google realized that there is a problem, there is an issue over here, it decided to intervene and it told all the publishers out there that what we can do is let's create a platform. Now, this platform is called as Google AdSense, right? And as the name suggests, they wanted to make sense, right, of these ads. So it told all the publishers, sorry, that all the publishers out here, right, all the publishers out here that give me all of your content, right? And it told the advertisers that we will provide you all the necessary, all the required content, right? In exchange of money that you could give us, and Google will keep a certain portion of this and give the rest back to publishers. And for all of this effort, right, it said what we will do is we will sort all the content. We will understand what is the topic. We will understand who are the reader, what is their gender, what is their age, what are their actions, etc. We will sort all of this and provide you with that data. And at the same time, we will provide you with the data with respect to what type of advertisers want to work with you. So this is when Google Display was launched. So what was AdSense for a publisher, which would organize, sort, etc., also became Google Display for an advertiser. So it became a place where I, as an advertiser, could see what content, what type of content suits for my business, right? And it helped me get the right space, the right inventory, basis my content. It helped the advertiser structure the content, understand the content, make sense of the content, and also to reach a mass number of advertisers that were out there. So this entire story is how Google Display came into being, and this is how Google Display works. Now, if I have to show you Google Display, let me quickly share my screen. If I have to show you what Google Display is, I have picked a couple of articles, right? So here, let's say for example, CNN News, right? Globally recognized news channel, right? Everybody from all across the world would visit this. Now, here, if you can see this particular thing that also says an advertisement, right, is something which is created by Google, right? So it decides which ad is placed. This particular publisher said that, hey, I am okay to give you this particular space as an inventory. I am okay to give you this particular space, not the center one, the one in the corner. And how do you identify? If you click on this eye icon, you will see ads by Google, right? If you click on this eye icon, you will see ads by Google, right? Google about this ad, etc. So it does mean ads by Google. Can you see here? So all of these different spaces, right? Here, if you see this is an ad, right? If I go somewhere else, this is an ad, ads by Google, and you can see ad. All of these different spaces are available for this particular publisher. If you see another publisher, right? On the top, you can see at the center, there is an ad, right? So it wanted to lend out this particular space. Here, I think, yes. Here at the center, there is an ad. If I keep scrolling, I might find more ads. Similarly, if you look at this, here on the right, there is an ad. Here on the left, there is an ad. Here on the center, there is an ad, right? And here, does this look like an ad? No. But here there is a video pop-up. But this is, okay, this also is an ad, a video ad, right? Let me close this. So this particular website is giving some more spaces in inventory, right? At the bottom here, there is an ad. Now, guys, please be mindful. There are thousands of players like Google out there who provide display services, right? So it's not necessary that this particular website, or let's say maybe, for example, BBC as a website is only associated with Google. If it has 10 ad spaces, it could decide to give, let's say, 5 to Google, right? Because it's the biggest platform out there. It could decide to give 2, 3 to some other platform. It could decide to keep 1 or 2 cream primary spaces with itself. Let's say, for example, something which is on the very top. Now, in this case, I believe it is given off to Google. It does not show who actually. It just shows advertisement. Yeah. So here we do not know if it has been lent to Google. There is an advertisement. It could have been by some other third party person, or BBC itself could be selling this particular space. So usually what brands do is this first fold, which is also called as the musk head, is one of the most premium inventory, because that's when people start, right? So if I come to this website, this is the first thing that I'm definitely going to see. Things at the bottom might not get scrolled, might get ignored, but something on the top is very prominent, right? So the brands might decide to keep it with themselves, but all the websites have that actually first big space kept to themselves. Let me close this. Okay, these guys do not actually, but CNN, I think, also does it. Yes, CNS is also keeping the first space, right, as an ad, and then you start reading something. BBC, all the renowned websites in the world are doing this. This is called as Google Display, right? This could be happening on individual blogs. It could be happening on thousands of publisher websites, different magazines, right? You could create a website, keep writing articles, keep generating traffic, and then reach out to Google AdSense saying, hey, I have a lot of people coming to mount to my website. How about you take all of these spaces that are available and advertise. So if you have decent number of traffic, right, coming down to your website, it's like YouTube ads, right? I have a YouTube channel, I keep producing content, and I will say, hey Google, hey, I have so many people watching my video. I would like to register to AdSense, and you can show ads on my particular YouTube channel, and in exchange, give me the money that I deserve for each and every impression, each and every click. This is how it works, right? So Google Display, guys, is a push network. We are pushing an ad to the customer, right? Here, to be very frank, if I would tell you, public speaking courses for children doesn't really make sense to me. Here, in this case, it doesn't make sense to me. But wherever we were seeing ads with respect to GoDaddy, if you remember, it was, I think, here. Yes, this GoDaddy. I was actually looking for a website yesterday, right? And I started seeing this ad. These clearly means that there is a way in which we can show someone what they were actually looking for, which is what I'm going to teach you really soon, which is the power of Google Display Ads. Cool, guys. So this is what is Google Display Ads, right? In the next chapter, I'm going to teach you how can we run Google Display Ads. So see you in the next class. Bye-bye. Hey guys, welcome back. So in your previous chapter, we understood what is Google Display Ads. We understood the different inventories, the ways these ads are run, the different websites. And like I said, there are thousands and thousands of websites out there where Google is associated with, right? In this particular chapter, we are going to understand how we can actually run a Google Display Ads, right? So to run your Google Display Ads, you need to come back to your very own Google Ads platform. So I'm just going to search for Google Ads, right? And if you remember, we have very recently created an ad. We added all the extensions, etc., etc., etc. Right? Sign in. I have multiple accounts over here to sign in with, but I remember the account name number, which ended with 6401, is the one that we created. Right? So we come back to our very own, the same old Google ad account, right? Which is where we had created a campaign, and I can show you that as well. Right, so this is the campaign where we had stopped. This is the campaign where we had created all your extensions, etc., and we published the campaign. Right, the same place is where we create a Google display campaign as well. Right, so here, right now, I am at the campaign level. Right, so at the campaign level, you can see on the top, you can see all campaigns. Right, if I select a specific campaign, I'll come down here where which talks about select a campaign. In this case, if I click on this plus sign, I can go to new campaign, right? Or else on the previous page on the top left, there was a big plus. That is where I can create a campaign as well. The first thing, guys, before we go into creation of a campaign is to understand the objective, right? In my previous chapter, when I was walking you through Google Ads, I had told you, if you remember, that whenever you are launching a Google search ad, right? Always focus on create a campaign without a guidance. Your first Google search ad should not have a guidance. There is a popular belief, is what people say, that if you're looking for sales, click on sales. If you're looking for leads, click on leads, guys. But that is not how it works. I had taught you a rule which was 30, 30, and 100 rule, which means if you have 30 conversions in a span of 30 days and overall 100 conversions on your account, only in that case we will go to any automated objective, because that is when Google understands what we are looking for, right? In this case, right now, we will only select this. Now you will ask me, hey Mihir, you asked us to go with create a campaign when your account is new, your account is like a child. We discussed this example, it needs to learn to crawl, then walk, then run, etc. Then why in this case we are not selecting this? In fact, we are selecting this. So guys, please understand this. This is a push media. When we talk pull as a medium, we can of course control it, right? Because what we want maximum is click. But when we are talking about a push medium, it is important that we focus on what Google tells us as an objective, because what Google does is, let's say, for example, you are targeting this particular lot as a universe. This is what I'm targeting, right? There is a certain age over here. There is a certain location of people I want to target. There could be gender, there could be interest, etc., everything under the sun. Now, in this case, if Google understands that this is my target addressable market, which is also called as TAM, right? Out of this, there is a certain percentage of people who have shown a behavior of clicking and going to a website after seeing a display ad, right? It knows that certain percentage of people who have taken this particular app. Now, again, you would say by this logic, we could go for leads as well. We could go for sales as well. Yes. But right now, Google does not understand what is a sale or lead for me. But the click happens on Google's site, right? Basically, the publisher site, which are run by Google. So that's why Google understands clicks, but it does not understand these things right now. And that is why we will opt for website traffic, right? Because here I actually want to push. But again, guys, please remember, we will select website traffic only when we are doing awareness top of the funnel campaign. Whenever I'm beginning with a action campaign, which is bottom of the funnel, I will again opt for create a new campaign without a goal guidance, because here again, where my action is conversion, where I'm looking for a sale, where I'm looking for a lead, I am not looking for a traffic. And that is why I want to rely on Google to do what it knows best and not go for automation. Again, later on after my 30-30-100 rule, I can go about this, right? So guys, please remember this very important setting. Whenever we are talking about awareness, right, go for website traffic. Whenever I am going for action, go for yes. And of course, at the consideration stage, we go for a search campaign, not a display campaign, right? So henceforth, in all the subsequent chapters, I will be specifying, I will be telling you the difference between how to go about for an awareness campaign and how to go for a separately consideration campaign. So please keep an eye on that. Right now, my purely focus is on the awareness campaign. And that is why in this particular stage, I am going to select website traffic, right? The next chapter, we are going to understand the different types of campaign settings we need to go through. So stay tuned for the next chapter. Bye-bye. Hey guys, welcome back. So in the previous chapter, we saw that to select or to start with an awareness campaign, we are going to select website traffic, right? Once I do this, it will ask me for some conversion goal. But right now, my only focus is traffic. What I want to tell Google is show somebody my ad, have them click on the ad and come down to my website. That's the maximum I want right now. And that is why I'm not going to select on anything else here. Just directly click on continue. We have created this while we created the search campaign. So it is still showing me all of those actions, but we do not want to do anything with it. So basically we'll sit and ignore this. What are we creating right now is a display campaign. It's not a shopping campaign. This is something that we will learn a little while later on. Not a video campaign. This is what we'll learn in our next module. And then there will be demand gen as a separate module, performance max as a separate module, and search, of course, we've done. Right. So this time around, we are focusing on display as a campaign. So I'm just going to click on select. And again, for website name, etc., I will use it when I'm at the ad level. So I can just click on continue. It's not compulsory to enter it right now. And in this case, I'm going to name my display campaign, right? As of now, I will name it display one, but subsequently I will have to change the name of the campaign to make the reader of the campaign understand. Reader as in my internal team, not my customers, not my audience, but internally I need to understand that if I have 5 display campaigns, what are these campaigns talking about, right? So the nomenclature has to be decided, but I cannot do it right away right now. So that's why in this case, I'm going to name it as display one and then click on continue, right? And now again, you will see we have some campaign settings over here. We have budget, bidding, etc. We have targeting, we have ads, and we have review. So again, how we did it for a Google search campaign, very similarly in a step-by-step manner. I'm going to walk you through each and every of the setting, right? Starting with location. Your location has to be exactly how we discussed for a Google search campaign, right? You can either select a country like India, right? So let's say, for example, if I'm targeting India, I can select India. If I'm targeting any other country, right, I will have to place it as per time zone. So US and Canada can be. So this could be my campaign one, this could be my campaign two. Again, my European countries like UK, Germany, Spain, all of these countries can be my campaign three. Campaign four can be all my Southeast Asian countries, which is Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, etc. Right? Dubai can be a separate campaign. Dubai, Oman, Qatar, etc. African, like South Africa, etc. Kenya, Nigeria can be a different campaign. And so on and so forth. I can create multiple campaigns if I am trying to focus on the globe. If I am someone who can sell global product or services, I will focus on the globe like this, right? If I'm focusing on a separate country, I will just select the country directly over here. If I want to focus on only a marginal area, right? So I can use that as well. And I can use a specific pin code, a specific city, a specific state, a specific town. Pretty much everything is here, right? Fair enough. Again, you see location options. And if you remember, while doing Google search as well, you had these two options, people present or regularly in or shown interest in your target location. It did say recommended, but we did not select this. We went for the second one. And I had told you I have wasted a lot of money doing this particular thing. And that's why here as well, my only recommendation is never click on the first one. You will end up losing a lot of money because whatever you are trying to target, like in this case, let's say, for example, I want to target India, whatever I'm trying to target, right? Your ads will be shown beyond that particular location, right? So this is something that we will never engage in, right? Even if this setting is hidden, please click on it, please open it up, and please select the right setting, right? Next up is language, right? So again, similarly to Google search ads, in fact, this is more of a visual readable medium, right? You will see a certain image, you will see a certain text. Please ensure that you select only one language, and that has to be the language of your ad creative, right? If you want to have any other language, like India itself has more than 400 languages, right? Uh, more majority of the countries have at least 2 to 3 different types of languages. If that is the case, please select specific location and select specific creatives in that particular language. But one campaign will only have one language and not more than that. Cool? Makes sense? Then there is something interesting that wasn't a part of a search campaign, which is more settings over here. So here do you have some basic options which says add location, add rotation. It says that if you have multiple ads, I will try and push for specific ads which have the potential to perform. We can let the campaign decide that. We can let the account decide that. It's absolutely okay. The AI here will do its job, right? We have ad schedule, etc. The interesting thing here is devices. When we are doing Google search ads, right, we usually look at the data we then decide what sort of device, is it a mobile, is it a tablet, is it a TV screen, etc., is giving us clicks, conversions, etc. And accordingly, we adjust the budget. Here, you can either show on all devices, which is absolutely important when you begin with, always select this particular setting. But additionally, you can select specific targeting for devices, right? So you can either select all of three, which is computer, mobile, tablets, or I can just select, let's say, for example, a mobile phone. The setting does not end here. This is where it ends in a Google search campaign. A Google display campaign, because it has push potential, it actually gives you more functionalities, right? Here, you can decide your operating system as well. So across the world, whatever operating systems are available, Windows, WebOS, iOS, Linux, BlackBerry, Android, etc. Let's say I want to only show my ads on Android and iOS. I can very well just select these, and my ads will only show on all those devices which are Android and iOS. Not just that, guys. You can also decide the model of the devices. Now, let's say, for example, within Apple, right? Here it already says all models. But if I click on this drop down, within Apple, I can decide if it's an iPad, iPhone, and iPod. Now, let's say I only want to go for a iPhone. I need to just uncheck this. Yeah. Now, let's say I only want to go for an iPhone within Apple. You can decide which iPhone you want to go to. So sometimes, let's say, for example, if you have an app which does not support some of the older versions, right? You have an app which you feel might have an in-app purchase, etc., or an app which can, you know, be useful to someone A who has a better purchasing power. So you go for the latest iPhone because they have recently purchased it. Or for someone who's very sound with tech, would also have a latest phone because they're very technologically sound, right? So you can select the latest phones accordingly. So depending upon the price, depending upon the latest operating system, depending upon the latest functionality, you can decide where you want to go to. That is in case you ever want to do that, right? To begin with, we do not use it, but this is the kind of information that Google has about you as a customer, and you can select that, right? So this is another thing that I can select, right? What sort of phone do I want? Not just that, I can also select network, right? So I can either go only for Wi-Fi. So whenever a certain phone is in the Wi-Fi setting, only then show my ad. Maybe whatever you're trying to sell, or the app or the ad or the website, is slightly heavy. It takes some time to load, right? It would load faster if there is Wi-Fi, and of course would load slower if it's on a mobile data. So you can choose to have it on Wi-Fi if that is the case. Similarly, even if within cellular data, you can select the cellular data in the country. So in India, we have Reliance, we have Vodafone, we have Airtel. These are one of the few major players, Idea, etc., right? So I can only select those particular major players if I want to, right? Right now, I do not want to go with any of these settings. I want it to be shown on all the devices, but imagine it knows all the providers within your country. It knows who is using which provider. It knows what operating system, what phone do they have. Is it on Wi-Fi? Is it on cellular data? So you have such granularity of targeting when it comes to Google display ads. And that's why you should opt for this, right? Apart from that, there's one more important setting over here, right? All of these are pretty straightforward, so don't worry about that. Directly come down to the last one, which is content exclusions, right? Right now, parked domains is selected by default. It means that do not show ads on parked domains. Now, what do you mean by parked domains? A lot of times, what people do is, let's say, for example, I've started a company called Amazon.com. Yeah. And this company is seeing good success. So what people will do is they will purchase domains with similar names and park it. They will not create a website on this domain. It will be a blank page, nothing else to do. What it would do is it would purchase this because tomorrow, when Amazon becomes a huge success, somebody would pay these people a good amount of money to purchase that website, right? So let's say if Amazon.com, so with a different spelling, like for example, there's Facebook, but people might also go for FACEBK, right? Or FCBK, etc. Right? So people tend to make spelling mistakes and would land up on this website. And when people land up there on this website, they will see ads. But it would not make sense. Why? It's a park domain. That domain is not doing anything. So that's why we are excluding park domains by default. Earlier, this was a manual option. Now it is by default option. Similarly, here you can see content label, sensitive content. So let's say, for example, I do not want to show an advertisement on a content that talks about a tragedy, war, conflict. So when we were looking at those BBC World and CNN newspapers, they would of course have some section on any sort of war that is happening, right? Like currently there is Israel-Palestine war, currently there is Russia-Ukraine war, etc. So anything showing such war-related stuff, right, I can avoid. So tragedy, conflict, earthquakes, floods, etc. Sensitive social content, profanity, sexual, suggestive, yeah, sensual or shocking content, I can decide. Ideally, it's a good practice to avoid your brand from showing here, right? And you can see, general audience, content suitable for families, all of this we want, right? Teen or older audience, mature audience. The content not yet labeled means Google could not bifurcate this particular content into any of these things. So that could be another scenario you could avoid, right? So here are all of this. My recommendation is to get rid of sensitive content, right? And that too, it's not like that depends on your product as well. If your product is something, right? Now, let's say, for example, if I am running an ad for a blood donation camp, yeah, if I'm running an ad for a fundraiser and that blood donation camp or a fundraiser or something, adopt a pet, etc., comes on a war page, doesn't really make sense. That's why we can use this to avoid this, right? So these are few of the campaign settings, guys. In the next chapter, we are going to focus on budget and bid. In this case, bid and budget becomes really very important. That's why I've kept it as a separate chapter, right? So see you in the next one. Bye. Hey guys, welcome back. So in this settings, we were looking at the sensitive content and how we want to avoid it. The next step, I want to walk you through bid and budget, right? So just click on next. Now, here by default, Google will select conversion. Even if you click on this drop down, you will see conversion, conversion value, viewable impressions, etc. Right? These are none of the settings that we want. In the top of the funnel, my only focus is going to be website traffic. How do you get traffic on your website when somebody clicks on an ad? So I want to start with clicks, right? That's going to be my default. So here, because we do not have this, there is something at the bottom you can see, or you can select strategy directly. Google will say it's not recommended, but we will still go for it. And when you click on that button, right, now you get more options and we will select maximize clicks. So what I am trying to tell Google is, hey, in the given budget, give me maximum number of clicks possible. And again, the objective on the top was website traffic, right? So give me traffic and give me maximize number of clicks. These are the two instructions we are giving Google. With respect to budgets, guys, my recommendation is always keep only 10%, right? So let's say we started a Google ad search account for 500. So in display, we will keep it 10%, which is 50 bucks, right? So if your search is 500 bucks, only keep 50 bucks over here because that is only what is required. A general click, which would easily cost you, 100 bucks, 125 bucks, in Google display will only cost you $1, $2, not even $1, couple of cents maybe, right? Now, a lot of times my students ask me this question that, hey, if Google display is so cheap, why are we even focusing on search, right? Because what you're saying is, if you're saying that we can get a click, let's say take an average of 100 bucks when it comes to a search ad, and just one or less in display ads, where I can get one click in the same. So let's say my budget is 100, right? This is my budget. In a search ad, I would get one click. Here I can get 100 clicks. So automatically my chances of conversion increases, right? 100 clicks versus one clicks. Absolutely. But guys, there is a very big problem here. There is a big difference in this click versus this click, right? The intent is very different. If one click, or let's say, for example, if 100 clicks, right, in Google search ad leads to one conversion, whatever I'm trying to sell. But if that is the scenario in terms of search ads, in display ads, this would easily be 10,000 clicks to one conversion. 10,000, 5,000, but it would require a lot more clicks. Because see, guys, what happens with search is people are actually looking for that product or service, right? And that's why here there is intent. Whereas here there is no intent. Here they are casually reading something, right? It's not even like a Facebook, etc., where they are browsing, but they have a behavior of buying right now on Facebook and Instagram. They know they will see those ads. They will know. Think about yourself. How many times have you seen an ad randomly on a blog or an article, clicked on it, gone to a website and purchased? Very rarely, right? And that is why here it takes so many clicks, right? But like I said, a funnel is very important. Now, I mean, again, there could be a very clear question in that case, why are we doing this in the first place? Let's just focus on search. No. See, guys, we need to make people aware. We need to make people remember at the action level. So we do awareness ads and retargeting ads. And that's why, like I said, when yesterday I was trying to book a website on GoDaddy, today I saw an ad from GoDaddy. This helps me remember, hey, I was supposed to purchase a website. I didn't end up purchasing it, right? That helps you remember to take the next step, right? So that awareness is very important to me, right? And that's why we take this process. So yes, with respect to budget, you will focus on 10% of what you were thinking as a search campaign. And as an objective, a bidding strategy, we will focus on maximize clicks, right? Next is, guys, targeting, which is the second most important thing when it comes to display ads. And this is what we will discuss in the next chapter. See you in the next chapter, guys. Hey, guys, welcome back. So in this particular chapter, we will understand the types of targeting when it comes to display ads. Now, guys, when it comes to display ads, targeting is something very, very important, right? Targeting is something that we can build context on. So if you remember, when we were talking about a Google search ad, we were talking about a campaign ad group, which was a container of keywords and ads, right? So this container was very important. Similarly, here we are at that level where these containers become very important. In Google search, we only had one way to target, which is keyword. But when it comes to Google display ads, we have four different ways of targeting, right? We have audiences, which is the buckets that Google creates. If you remember, we had discussed about these buckets. So it's the different buckets that Google creates. There is topics that people usually go and read, right? There are keywords again here as well. So it's basically taken down from here only, similar sort of logic. And then finally, there is placements, right? We will look at all of these four in detail in this particular chapter, right? So once you are done with this bid and budget selection, we will just click on next. So here you can see automatically on the left, we will come down to targeting, right? See here, Google is saying we have optimized targeting setup for you. Optimized targeting, you can directly click on next and Google will automatically do it, but do not rely on the automation. We will manually select it. So just click on add targeting. And here you can see the 4 steps, right? So you can see audience segments, suggest who should see your ads. Then there is demography. Demography is not really an audience segmentation. That's why I only counted 1, 2, 3, and 5, 4, and 5. This is more like a demography. But it's not like the way you want to, attract people. Then there is keywords, then topic, and then placements, right? So we will look at each of these one by one. First is audience segment. Audience segment is pretty similar to Google search ad. If you remember, we were creating a Google search ad there. We had an audience segment. We had an option of observation and targeting. And then I said that what Google does is it keeps bucketing people into different buckets, right? It keeps categorizing all of those people. And then let's say, for example, if you have 4, 5 categories, 2, 3, 4, and out of these 4 categories, you can see that 50% of conversions comes from this category. So you can target the entire category, right? Where a portion of this is working means a lot of this could also work as well. So you basically focus on this particular category itself. That's exactly what these categories are. So through data, through understanding, when we realize that a certain bucket is working, I can come and search for that particular bucket and target them, right? That's one approach to this. Now, let's say I'm not yet clear if there is a certain bucket that is working, not working, etc. Still, with basic logic and understanding, we can still start this exercise, right? Now, in this case, if you remember, we had taken an example where I was talking about a website which shows my own consultation services, right? Where I provide consultation for different ads, Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of the ad formats under the sun. Now, let's say, for example, for my specific business, I want to target certain people, right? I want to look at people who could use my services, right? In that case, I will come here and let's say start with first, in fact, before actually selecting this, who could be using my services, right? So let's say, for example, the first set of people who used, could be used, like would want to use my service would be business owners. Yeah. So there are businesses, everybody wants to grow their business, right? And to grow their business, they could use my services. So this becomes first segment, which is all the people who are different types of business owners, right? Apart from business owners, there would be people who are actually interested in advertisement and marketing, right? So people trying to look for these kind of services. These could be business owners. These could be, people who are just wanting to understand how this could be done, etc. Right? So businesses could be looking for, my product or service. This is more like a push because here they are not searching for my service. They are searching for business related stuff. I am pushing my product, which is ads consultation. Here they are actually looking for advertising and marketing. So this slightly becomes pull. So of course, on the whole, this is of course push because the platform is push. But here this becomes pull within push because they are in that situation where they're looking for AI tools for, let's say, to make ads, etc., etc. Right? So they are sort of here. And then we could figure out other businesses who are interested in something else, but might be able to use my services. The objective is to sell this particular service, which is consultation. Cool. So let's start with the first, which is, I'll just actually write it here on the corner. What we are looking for is, right? What we are looking for is businesses. Cool. Now let's search. So everybody here interested in a business. Let's search for that. So starting a business soon, right? So these guys could require ads. Recently started a business. These guys could ads. Business creation, purchase a home, not really. Purchasing a home soon, not really. Starting a new job, maybe not. Recently moved, recently graduated, recently started a new job, retirement, business service, maybe. Let's see. Business and tech, maybe. Industrial products, business loan, of course not. But yeah, I mean, I can look for business loan as well, right? They are looking for a loan to start a business. If they get a loan, they would want to get sales. Now they have the money, they need sales. Sales can come with the help of marketing, so they could use my consultation. So I can try this, guys. Advertising and marketing was my second audience. So I'm not getting there. Business and productive software, okay. Banking, no. Business education, no. Home purchase, accounting software, investment services, corporate event planning, debit checking, small business tools, maybe. They're looking for business tools. Growth information, absolutely. Service, support service, mailing list, business mailing list, okay. Suit and business attire, not really. Business and business solutions, maybe. Let's see. Web listing, maybe. Let's see this. Right? Creating a company, starting a business in the US, business service. Now, guys, there is one thing that you need to see, right? Here, right below. Um, sorry, I stopped my screen share, right? Yeah, let me come back. Right below all of these things, business mailing, all of this, you can see something called as in market, in market, in market, in market, right? Whereas here, if I scroll down, whereas here, if I scroll down, you will start seeing something as an affinity, right? Now, guys, what's the difference between in market and affinity, right? So, guys, in market, as the name suggests, they are in market for a certain product or service, right? Product or service. They are searching for it. They are looking for it, right? So they want, so they are search on Google is like business or get, sorry, it's like get business loan, right? So it's just an example, but they would be searching for such things, or they could be searching for how to start a business, right? And that's why you saw starting a business, started a new business. So their searches would be different. So basis their search, basis their behavior online, Google categorizes all of these people into different categories as discussed, into the different buckets that we were talking about. Yeah. Affinity, on the other hand, right, are all of those people, no, who are in general researching on those topics, right? This in market is current. This is very general. They keep on doing this, reading upon it, understanding it. So if I say they are looking at business guides, business advice, family business, business startup service, right? So they are in this periphery for a long time, right? Let me give you a simple example, maybe not related to this, but let's say, for example, I want in market and affinity, right? Now I'm a football fan, right? I never miss any English Premier League match. Even if I miss, I would go to websites like FootyTube or any of these websites or ESPN.com, watch the replay of the match. So I go click on ESPN, go to football, watch the replay. So Google knows this, right? Or I would just look at, what are the different transfers that are happening. So I would be considered as affinity for football, right? Because I do all of these things that shows that I've been in the space. I keep researching on football, watching football, etc. In market, on the other hand, if I say, let's say, for example, there's an amazing finals, right? Let's say FIFA World Cup is around and I support Brazil. right? Always have been a diehard Brazil fan. So I am looking for Brazil jersey. So when I'm searching for all of these things, I become in market for football, right? So all the jersey sellers, everything that comes around football at that time now can attract me because I am in market. I want to buy something related to football, right? So sports shop can sell me footballs, replicas, etc. Frames of popular footballers, jerseys, and whatnot. Right? So that's the difference between an in-market and a affinity. So in this case, while we have been selecting all the in-market, affinity we have to be smart because these people for business advice as their affinity, they're regularly around the periphery of business advice. It's not necessary they will purchase my service, right? So here we have to be really smart as to what we select. Even if we do not select anything, it's absolutely okay, right? So I think we are good to begin with when it comes to audience segment, which is looking for business solution, etc. Right? Then I can go up with a demography. Let's say, for example, I don't want people with the age. See, unknown is always going to be a factor, right? Unknown I cannot avoid in any way, right? But if there is any specific gender who you want to sell to, now my consultation can go for any gender. But if there is a specific gender, like a male or a female can only use your product or service, you can happily select one of them. Age, maybe let's say I don't want people over the age of 55. Rest everyone can predominantly, because 55, 65 plus, they might not be inclined. Maybe let's give 55 to 64 a chance, but not people more than 65, right? In my case, parental status doesn't really matter. But if you are selling a certain product or service in which parental status is important, you can select that. Similarly, income levels. Now, income levels work in very less countries, and you can just select the list of countries and understand. My objective is that don't go for income levels unless and until you are selling a very premium product. If your product is really premium, in that case, I'm okay with selecting certain income. Otherwise, if it can be taken up by general people, it's okay. Because see, the algorithm also now understands who clicks, how do they click, when do they click. So we can rely on the algorithm to get you the right kind of people instead of picking up the age. Right? So demography, we barely play with gender, age, and parental status if and if only necessary. In my case, or majority of these things doesn't matter, so I'm not gonna select anything. Just say done. Next comes, guys, keywords, right? And of course, now I am looking for all of these people. Now, in this particular section, right? Again, the theme has to be very intact. If I am picking a theme which talks about business, here the keyword should not change to digital marketing service, etc. Everybody looking to grow business. So they could be searching for how to, and here you can use slightly a mix of long tail, short tail keywords. You can, here the concept of match type is not relevant, but how to grow my business, right? Um Increase sales for my business, right? So we can go for certain long tail keywords like this. We can leads for business sales, how to grow my business. All of these keywords, right? You can start picking up. Right? So be around the same periphery. You don't, if in case you feel that there are no keywords here which stick to my category, na, you can choose to ignore this as well. It's okay. It's not compulsory that you need to add a lot of keywords. It's not compulsory that you need to add keywords. You can skip it as well. If you feel there are relevant keywords that your target audience can use, you can try that. Right? As a matter of fact, you can go to ChatGPT, explain to them your targeting and ask for keywords, and ChatGPT will also give you Google display keywords as well, right? You can enter your website here as well and get some suggestions as well from the content on the website, right? Cool. Keyword is very basic here because again, it's a push platform. So keyword is not really the focus. It does give you an option to choose keywords, but it's not the focus. The real bit lies in the audience that we selected and the next thing, which is topics, right? Here again, we want to target people who are regularly interested in reading, consuming information around a certain topic. See, guys, please understand, whenever we are doing any format of reading, we stick to certain things. Like I would read a very specific newspaper every day by default. If I'm researching on my topics, which is digital marketing or ads or any of these things, I would have specific blogs, etc. So it's very easy for Google to understand what kind of topics I'm in general going to be interested in, right? Basis my geography, basis my past behavior, basis if even if on Google News there are 10 topics and what I click, all of that data now goes back into Google Intelligence and it makes certain assumptions about me, right? So again, we are sticking to a theme of business. So I'm going to stick to business again, right? Right. So you have business finance, uh, business operations. I can go with business plans and presentations, business process, business services make sense, industry fluid, packaging, small business, right? So business formation, MLM and opportunity, right? Business productivity softwares, right? Tycoons and games, etc. Right? So you can keep selecting a lot of these things. Yeah. Gifts, no, business travel, maybe, but okay, business. Again, business travel might be a stretch, right? So everybody researching in and around the topic of business, we can target these folks directly from here, right? So these are the kind of things, the topics that these guys are interested in. They are consuming information on, they are trying to understand more and more things. So again, we have to stick with a single segment. Right now, we have not gone to the second segment, which is advertising, right? People interested. So if I just have to show you this, you can just put maybe marketing here. See advertisement and marketing, brand management, direct mail marketing, email marketing. So all of these people could use my service as well. But there is a reason why I'm specifically sticking to this stream, and I'll get back to you on that in the next few minutes. Right? So this becomes your topic. And the final thing over here is called placements, right? So placements are different types of websites, different types of YouTube channels, different types of YouTube videos, apps, etc., where you want to show your ad, right? Now, guys, placement will always work differently. With respect to placements, you will only select placements around your topic because here these are the general things that people are doing, right? But here, this is very specific. Here, I don't want to show my ad when somebody is on a website researching about a business. That will not make sense, right? In this case, when that business person is trying to understand ads, only then it makes sense. Because, see, let's say, for example, I'm researching on business license. I am on a website which is doing business license. There, you show me consultation. Right now, I'm not thinking of consultation. This is in general, right? This is what people do in general. Uh, the business solution, etc. They are in general looking for it. And generally, I'm pitching my service. But here, this is too specific because this is a specific website, a specific channel, a specific video. Here we want to stick around my area, which is digital marketing. So now here, if you see, there are 254 websites tie up with Google around digital marketing, more than 1,000 channels and more than 1,000 videos. Right? So here, if you open, so DigiLife, Marketing 91, Marketing Scope, right? All of these websites, I can show my ads. So now let's say marketing91.com, right? So here, if I go to this website, we'll see some ads. Now, marketing91.com is a blog that talks about marketing and also has, you can see this ad coming up. And here, Adobe and Acrobat, and you can see ad choices, ads by, these are ads by Google, right? So you can decide your ads to be shown here, right? Similarly, all of these places which have to do with marketing, right? You can just select whichever you want. And later on, if you realize that some of these things are not important, doesn't work, etc., you can later on remove them as well. Similarly, there are 1,000 plus YouTube channels. So Marketing Explained, Neil Patel Digital Marketing Institute, the School of Digital Marketing. Yeah, all of these. So if anybody is reading something here, my ads can be shown here as well. Yeah. Similarly, specific videos, right? So digital marketing in 5 minutes, right? So here you can talk about, so as a business, let's say, for example, I'm looking at videos around lead generation, plain and simple, right? So all the videos that focus on top five do B2B lead generation tools. Did the AI tool just change sales? 7 lead generation tools review. Everything around lead generation, and you can see all of these things, 58,000 views, 1,55,000 views. You can just select the ones that you want. And finally, guys, if you have a specific YouTube video, now let's say, for example, I go to YouTube and I want a very specific YouTube video. Let's say this song. Yeah, there is this song which is, I want to, I mean, here in this case, it does not make sense to put it on a song. But let's say this is a trending song and I want my ads to be shown here. I can just select this video, paste it over here, and now you will see. Can you see YouTube video 1? Website, there is nothing, channel, nothing, there's a video. I can select a specific video as well, right? And show ads on these particular videos. Now, please understand one thing. Placements are the most expensive of all of these things. So placements, if you keep less, it's going to be very expensive. The more placements you keep, it's going to go cheaper because the spread increases, the opportunity for Google increases to show on different platforms, etc. Right? And that is why you have to keep as much as more placements possible. Cool. And the final bit with respect to this is ad targeting, which is optimized ad targeting, which is Google is saying beyond all of these things, I will still optimize your targeting and try to find better targeting options for you, right? In most of the cases, guys, we turn this on different platforms, even on Google, there's optimization, etc. We switch this on. In Google Display, please keep this on. Yeah. And then all we need to do is next. And then finally, we come to the final chapter, which is ads, right? So guys, in the next chapter, I will walk you through how do we run Google Display ads. So see you in the next chapter.